chant our ABC chart.
A,
Apple.
B, bear. C, cat. D, dog. E, elephant. F, fish. G, gate. H, hat. I, igloo. J, Jack in the box.
K,
Kite.
L,
Leaf. M, moon. N, nest. O, octopus. P,
pig. Q,
queen.
R,
Rain.
Sorry.
S, sun.
T, turtle.
U, umbrella. V, vacuum. W, window. X, X-ray. Y, yo-yo. Z, zipper.
Awesome. When you do this, it's really important that you try not to draw out the sound at the end of your letters, okay? So, like G, g. It's not G, it's G, okay? So try to keep the sound pretty true. So that's just a little pointer. Okay, moving right along.
Are you guys warm? Is it warm?
And we came in here. I'm going to draw you to the little lesson plan that I have for you. Okay? So you can pull that out. It looks just like an observation guide, except it will say Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Tub down here by book titles. Okay?
Oh, that's true. You should be following your observation guide. So it's called Whole Group Foundations. Great. You have it in front of you. Okay. So see if you can follow along. Because that's what we're going to be doing. This is your opportunity to sit back and watch Amy and make notes of Amy the way that she might do, or I might do as I continue to observe you.
And there's no such thing as a perfect lesson, right? Okay. So I'm going back into my model again, so bear with me. Boys and girls, today I have the Think Aloud sign posted. When this sign is posted, you have a very important job. Your job is to watch and to listen, because I am going to show you what readers do when they read. And I'm going to show you some tricks and some things that they do to help them when they get stuck on words. Boys and girls, the important things that I am going to show you today is I can stop at the tricky part. So when I come to a word that I don't know, I can stop. And you're going to watch me do that today. The second thing you're going to watch me do is I can check the picture. So when I come to a tricky part, I'm going to stop. Then I can check the picture to see if the picture can help me with the tricky part. Third, and finally, I can say the beginning sound. The beginning sound of the tricky part. The very first letter, or the beginning sound of the tricky part. And that can help me match it with the picture and see if I can come up with that tricky part. I have a great book here. This book is called Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Tub.
I'll stop you right there. Okay, I hope she doesn't lose her momentum. Okay, I want you to quickly look at your observation guide, and let's check. Did she post and state her expectations with the red Think Aloud?
Yes.
Yes, she did. So she established the expectations of what was going to happen in the lesson. Sometimes that's not really clear to us. Is this a modeled lesson or is this an interactive lesson? Sometimes you're halfway through your lesson, I'm going, oh, I thought it started out modeled, but now it's interactive. Uh-oh, okay. But if you say that right at the beginning, I have no question in my mind what kind of lesson it's going to be. your children should also know what their job is. Is it a listening job today, or do I get to participate? So make sure you post and state the expectation of whether it's a think aloud or think together today. Did she post her standards? Did she have them posted? And did she visit them? Do the children know what is expected for them to learn today? Yes, they know exactly what they're going to learn. It's very clear to them. So now they know what to focus on in your lesson. And maybe they might not remember it word for word, but they have an understanding that we're going to learn something important today, and they've been told exactly what it is. And then
She go on all week.
and these just stay up all week long, so you don't have to change them once they're up. And then the last thing she did was what? The book title. There you go. So we're down to number 2. Do you see big book title? That's where we are on the observation guide.
This story is called Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Tub. Wow. I wonder what Mrs. Wishy-Washy is going to do with that tub. Have any of you ever seen this tub before? A tub like this before? I wonder what she's going to do with this tub. We're going to find out as we read this story. Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Tub. Remember, this is called the title. Story by Joy Callan. Illustrations by Elizabeth Fuller. It's my author and my illustrator. And I see some animals here. I'm thinking that because this is on the title page, these animals are probably an important part of the story. I'm going to continue on. I see a cow. I wonder what the cow's doing. Now I see a cow and a kid.
Does she need to wear the microphone? Are you okay?
I'll try to talk louder. Now I see another animal joining them. I wonder what's going on. Wow. One animal is added every time. Ah! Looks like here comes the water. Oh, look at these animals. Look at their faces. I'm thinking that they're not liking that too much. This might be important. I wonder what this is.
We're going to stop her again right there. Okay, so on your observation guide, she read the big book title, and then she accessed prior knowledge, or she builds background. You have to determine, is this something that kids know about? Am I going to access their prior knowledge? That means, can they tell me about it? Or do I need to build some background? Because if you have no background in something, you cannot hang on to it. It's when you have background that you're able to connect new learning to it. So, so if you don't have that background, you need to make sure, or the children don't, you need to make sure that you build background for those children. And then she took a picture walk to preview the text. One of the things that we failed to do is bring out our reading process sheet. And we're going to do that next time for guided reading. But let me just quickly tell you, there are things we do every time before we read, during reading, and after reading. Just like there's a process in writing, there's a process in reading. And so we always preview the text before we read. And then the next bullet says, teacher reads entire text with fluency. Amy and I are kind of rethinking that one because there are opportunities for learning that take place when we predict things or we don't know the text. And so sometimes the text may need to be familiar so that the children can focus on the strategy you're trying to teach. And other times it may be more helpful, or it may create a better learning environment for the children to learn that strategy if the text is unknown for the children. And so today we decided that the text is going to be unknown, correct? Okay, so now we're down on 3.
However, you have some meaning because we just did a picture preview. We just walked through the story, right? So you are going to have something to hang on to. The part that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to read the story to you before I show you how this works. Okay? Because if I read the story to you, then when I stop at the tricky part, the kids already know what the word is for the tricky part. And so it's hard for them to get past, she really knows that word. So it seems to not be very smooth, in my opinion. Okay? So, in my opinion, it's like better to see it in action before pretending that I'm stuck on a word that I just read 2 seconds ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're ready for
Yep,
it?
we're ready. Mini lesson.
Wait, time out. I have a
So
question.
we're on this one.
What's your blue, like, poster? Your book?
You're going to see.
Good question.
Very good question. You're going to see. Okay?
Hang on to that one.
So are you saying that sometimes you read the whole book first before you teach them the strategy, and then sometimes you teach
Sometimes
them
it's
the
okay,
strategy
like-
during the reading? Is
Like,
that the...
if you're teaching a strategy of one-to-one matching,
You can teach them while you read, right?
okay, could you read the story to them before you did one-to-one matching?
Yeah.
Definitely, you could. Okay? But if you're teaching them, stop at the tricky part. But I've just read the story to you. Do you think they're going to take me seriously that I'm stopping at the tricky part? Do you kind of, can you kind of sort that out a little bit? It's just like, really? She really knows what that word is, so why are we? So, in my opinion, kids have a hard time pretending. So I've seen teachers say, okay, boys and girls, now we're going to pretend that I'm going to get stuck. I'm gonna come to a tricky part. Really? Really? Okay? I want something to be as natural as possible to them to really get something across. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So, Mrs. Wishy-Washy's stuff. Boys and girls, as I read this story through to you, I am going to stop at the tricky part, and then I'm going to check the picture. Okay? And then I'm going to say the beginning sound of the tricky word to see if that will help me. I want you to watch and listen very carefully as I show you how good readers use these 3 things to help them in their reading. Mrs. Wishy-Washy's tub. Mrs. Wishy-Washy's tub. The cow is in the... This is going to be a tricky thing for me. I don't know what this is. I wonder if this is what they mean by the tub, because that's the title of my story. But I've also seen something like this before, and I've heard people call this a pail. So I'm wondering if this is a tub or if this is a pail. I'm going to have to be very clever when I read the story to see if this is going to be a tub or a pail. The pig